Good evening and welcome to Newshour. I'm Sam Mataba, coming up in tonight's edition of Newshour. As community people at Motoko claim that Sierra Leone Brewery Limited is polluting the environment, the company refutes the allegation. Hope for Ebola orphans, Sierra Leone calls on Sierra Leoneans to lend a helping hand to Ebola orphans at Mowaf and Hamilton. United Nations Office for Project Services discovers 3 human remains at Motome. And Parliament scolds newly elected lawmakers on parliamentary proceedings. All the stories and more are lined up in the next 1 hour of Newshour tonight. Welcome to Newshour. Sierra Leone Brewery Limited has dismissed allegations that the company is causing an environmental pollution in the Motoko community where the company operates. According to the Corporate Affairs Manager, Sierra Leone Brewery Limited, Albert Collier, the company is operating in line with the recommendations of the Environment Protection Agency and Brewery's Environment Policy. Aruna Patrick Mara sent us this report.
In 1962, Sierra Leone Brewery Limited has been a partner in development and has continuously demonstrated its commitment to being a reputable company in the country. The company commissioned the wastewater treatment plant to meet international environmental best practices. According to the Corporate Affairs Manager of Sierra Leone Brewery Limited, Albert Collier, they take environmental responsibility with utmost importance and that they are complying with all of the laws and statutes on environmental protection. He said in compliance with the recommendation of the Environmental Protection Agency and in alignment with their environmental policy, they have invested over 4 million euros in state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plants to treat their processed water before discharging it into the nearby stream.
Thus, our activities do not have any harmful effect on the environment. We are certified by EPA and we receive our environmental impact assessment license based on these requirements, which is in line with the statutory regulation to operate harmlessly. As part of the EPA requirements, we are subject to quarterly monitoring inspection audits. This is carried out by our consultant, Siemens. We had a very recent inspection exercise completed by EPA on 3rd April 2018, and the analysis and results, which proved positive, were received on 11th April 2018. In addition, we are monitoring the functioning of our plants for all the required parameters on a daily basis.
Mr. Collier said they are certified with all EPA environmental impact assessment license requirements in line with statutory regulations to operate harmlessly. He said they are monitoring the functioning of their plants for all required parameters on a daily basis. Albert Collier assured the public that their wastewater treatment plant is always in proper working condition. Representatives from the Environment Protection Agency and CIMAT said since they got the report of the company depleting the environment, they have been investigating the cause of the problem and will soon come out with a report. The Councillor of Ward 404, Constituency 114, Councillor Osman Kuruma, said he will not connive to jeopardize the lives of his people and urged the company to come out with the facts and find a solution to solve the cause of the odor that is disturbing the community.
If Shalom be limited, they spend a huge amount of money to construct a water treatment plant. What does that mean? If the water is not polluting the vicinity or the streamline, they will not do that. That's point number one. But I will not mortgage the integrity of the community for Shalom be limited because they are supporting us. It is true, they have been doing well. You understand? They have been well in terms of responding to their corporate social responsibility. But if there's an issue, we're supposed to arrange to sit down together as a community and the Shalom be limited. I think that is the first step we're supposed to do. This one is a top-bottom approach. We're supposed to, first of all, before calling you here, we're supposed to sit down between the company itself and the community. We listen to the community, their views. We iron out the issues before they invited here. But now, he has called people. In fact, I see it as unexpected. But people are here, they want to listen for me, not to hear what I'm saying. They voted me to represent them. And I'm supposed to represent them. If I fail to give them the appropriate representation, they will vote me out tomorrow.
He called on EPA to do their investigations properly and seek the interests of the people.
A release from the Minister of Information and Communications is informing the general public that the official portrait of President Julius Maada Bio is now available at the Ministry of Information and Communications 8th floor U building, Brookfields. The public is further informed that it is only the Minister of Information and Communications that has a legal mandate to issue out the official approved portrait of the President. 3 corpses have been identified at Motema, where hundreds of Sierra Leoneans lost their lives due to the August 14th mudslide and flooding disaster. The disclosure was made by a worker of the United Nations Office for Project Services currently working at the site. Mama Suma reports.
It was a cold, rainy morning on the 14th of August 2017 that hundreds of Sierra Leoneans lost their lives here at Motome. Rescue teams pulled out hundreds of bodies buried in this area under heavy downpour. Till date, the correct figure of people believed to be buried underneath the rubble is still unknown. Barely 8 months after the incident, the United Nations Office for Project Services UNOPS embarked on an exercise to plant trees in the affected area in remembrance of the dead and to protect the environment. Whilst cleaning the area to get the trees planted, human remains resurfaced from the debris.
When the level the place here, don't can plant it. When a tree we don't see now.
All
No, the first one be Monday now we see. So the second one then yesterday, Tuesday. So today back plus today. And I tell you body now we don't see. Yes, the body don't begin old now. Yes, but you will not see people now. Well, we call now 117 we call for let they can't take the body. So when we call them, but they know Ibukan. The one when our boss, they call them, they know Ibukan. So now later on they call now because then they can't take it an emergency. Yes, now we don't call yourself because the 117 and they don't come. They don't wear the burial team close them, they don't wear now.
Isaba from the burial team, working at the Connaught Hospital in Freetown, told the SLBC that the 3 remains were found 2 days back when UNOPS officers were working on the site.
Well, from yesterday morning, we didn't call you. We don't can ask you. You can pick up the boss body by 5:20. But we can't wear mortuary. Then this morning, it is 9 o'clock, then call you back, say we get another corpse now, so we can pick up, but now just the bone then woman here, how we can be not so complete human, just the bones with the human here. Now we don't put first. Then they don't do right now. For one get everything, though we go left all together. Ourselves, not with everything, not just the flesh, human leg, half of our mouth. Yeah, for most of these sites, as we machine right now, we expect more customers. The same area, this site, as we do, the same area. I would see the same one. Yeah, well, yesterday one person did we not play the live in the area. He talks saying I want maybe the sell and in that one day, he even get it, but we don't forget the name. He give the name saying it's supposed to be selling us money and one money and in that one day so then get for item and then label them though we can.
Earlier, the Sierra Leone Red Cross Society provided food and non-food items to victims at the Motome site. Thomas Abu, Disaster Management Coordinator at the Sierra Leone Red Cross Society, said the offer came as a result of the demand made by the government through the Office of the National Security (ONS). He adds that capacity building training is also part of the plan for them. Pentagon, Kaningo, Malama, to name but a few, are also part of the distribution.
By mandate, the Sierra Leone Red Cross Society, or the Red Cross in particular, has a mandate of responding to the needs of the vulnerable individuals. So when the mudslide occurred in 2014, as part of the responsibility of the Red Cross to respond to the needs of the vulnerables, we realized that there are a lot of people to be responded to, and as such, we made appeals to donors, to partners in terms of the need to support Red Cross to respond to the needs of the partners. So it was accepted in a meeting with the central government through the Office of National Security and the Ministry of Social Welfare that the Red Cross will respond to 1,000 households, and this is the reason why we are here, to extend the support. We've already started in terms of giving cash transfer, in terms of giving food and non-food item transfers. But there was a remaining 250 household beneficiaries, which we promised that we will extend support to them, and that's why we are here today, to render the assistance to the remaining 250 households. Where we have different partners. When we say Red Cross, it's a collective name. We have the Sierra Leone Red Cross Society, we have the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent, and in terms of the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent, which we refer to as IFRC, we can also make appeals. For example, in the health and hygiene promotion, there was an appeal to UNIFTC for them to support us in the promotion of health, and they give their own support to the Red Cross, to IFRC. And IFRC in particular also, we made an appeal, and in that appeal it was accepted that they will support the Red Cross to extend assistance to the vulnerables in terms of food and non-food items. Notwithstanding, the Sierra Leone Red Cross Society also made special appeals to individuals, to well-wishers. We had support from different parts of the world, we have support from within the country, and it is a collective effort in terms of all these packages received to be extended to the sufferers.
Eleanor Jacomi Metzger, the head woman of Regent, thanked the Sierra Leone Red Cross Society for their support towards the community. She added that the support should not only be for the adults, but also for the children, as they are advocating for community health facilities.
First of all, I say a big thank you to Red Cross, because at least from where this thing happened on the 14th of August, then they're on the ground. Up to now, then they're on the ground. So I appreciate them very much. And furthermore, I feel good. Although Nayana at the same time, people in Komodong from as far as Bangbaila, Kamayama, is it Kamayama or Kanigo for come up for this supply, because it cut across. But really, they do extremely well. And then can you write somewhere, so people are not giving a nothing at the answer. But with that, which I'm the thing say, them for look at the babies, the infants, them as well. Because when you look at what you do, they're more for big person. Them for the look at them, adolescents and all inclusive. So that when you don't give the parents them baby themselves will get something what themselves will partake of. But most of the time when they supply, and you want them big one, and you can't say they grow the adults and kill the infants. You therefore encourage the infants from growing to adults.
She said that they have been asking people to move from the surrounding as we are fast approaching the rains, but yet they are hell-bent in staying there. A survivor, Ali Bangra, who lives few kilometers away from the site, says he's very scared that the rainy season are already here, but they don't have anywhere to go.
Feel the panic. With the panic, we don't know how the rain season they can what they happen back. We still the fear. They will not have no side. Because they move where the season can they move. No about for say get other side. Now I am managing life beside driving. So I know about no side for say where the season can they come out. I no expect that day. Feel fine. I get about 4 family with them deal with me now with them die. I not feel fine. But I no get no side for go tap. From August 14 where this thing happened, 30 I didn't know.
Beneficiaries who benefited from the support thank the Sierra Leone Red Cross Society for their relentless efforts. SLBC Newshour, Maria Masuma reporting.
The Minister of Education, Science and Technology has said that they are prepared to conduct the National Primary School examinations early next month. This was disclosed to SLBC by the Public Relations Officer, Minister of Education, Michael Ture, ahead of the exams. Joseph Ture sent us his reports.
The National Primary School Examination is the only bridge that pupils at the primary school use to cross over to the secondary level of their education pursuits. Recently, due to the electioneering process, schools were closed down for a few weeks, and even after the break, parents refused to send their children to school. This has raised public concerns as to whether the schools and relevant authorities concerned are fully prepared for the forthcoming exams. Joseph Kamara is the deputy headmaster at the Dr. S.M. Broderick Municipal Primary School and also attached to pupils preparing to take the exams. He confirmed that his pupils are fully prepared for the exams, but raised concerns over the challenges they had before now.
Everything is intact because we've done a lot in relation to what is indicated or stipulated in the syllabus, and I'm pretty sure that the kids are intact as far as the NPSC examination is concerned. I've played my role as a teacher, and I'm convinced that I have done what I'm supposed to do to them as a teacher. That's why I said the preparation is intact. One of the big challenges that we do experience is that you will do agree with me that during the electioneering process, the time for the kids was chopped up, and a week was given as a break to the kids, and immediately after that week we are supposed to continue with our schooling. A good number of the children did not turn up.
However, Pamela Thompson, a Class 6 teacher at the Holy Trinity Boys Primary School, Kissy Road, pleaded to the relevant authorities to postpone the exams as the election has affected the pupils. She said this may impact the output of the pupils. She also called upon parents to be vigilant at home because they have more time with their children.
For this time around, we have a lot of challenges, especially during this election period. Parents are afraid to send their children to school, and even when they call up the election, the turn-up is very poor. Up to now that I'm saying, we have more than 75 people to take the entrance examination. The turn-up is just 50 for now, just 50. The children, because of this 1 month, 2 weeks they've left behind, we have so many challenges. When they were at home, no monitoring, everybody was just concentrating on election. Even the parents were not assisting the children in their education while it's coming. So we have a lot of challenges. When we come back, we have to go all over again. Just imagine we left behind 1 month and 2 weeks. The children have lost a lot. So we have to go backward and forward. This teaching work is a two-way process. The parents is involved and the teacher. We have just 5 hours with these children, and the parents have more than 5 hours with these children. Some of the children, they get home, especially this environment we find ourselves, this magazine environment. Some of the children will not see with their parents only on Sunday. They will say, teacher, my parent goes by 5:30 in the morning and is not back by 9 o'clock, but I know where she placed my lunch.
However, the Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Education, Michael Ture, was asserting positive that the ministry is well prepared for the forthcoming exams on the 5th of May. The public relations officer said the ministry officials will be meeting with WAEC officials as the office of the president in relation to his order on the National Cleaning Day on the 5th of May, which coincides with the NPSE. He also stated that if there is any change or the time, the Ministry on WAEC will inform the public immediately.
Well, traditionally, we usually have the NPSE holding on the first Saturday of May. That has been the tradition, except for the last year when we had some shake-up in that. But traditionally, that's what it is supposed to be. But somehow this year, it has also coincided with some executive order that came from the new president, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, that Saturday has been declared National Day of Cleaning. I mean, last Saturday fourth Saturday of May. And so when you look at that, that's coming from the #1 man in the country. And so you would have to have very serious considerations around that. And so that means we would have to go back to the table with WAEC and obviously with the new government to see what we can do around that. No school has reported, but this is what I have to say, that any school that had not already prepared their kids for the examination, even before the elections, would have done so at their own detriment. Because that's the expectation, that even before the elections, they would have prepared the kids and get them ready for this examination. And so that would not be, or should not be, an excuse by any head of school that the kids might be disadvantaged. No, they should have had enough preparation before this time. And so if the executive order by the president stands, we would have to do something around that and probably find a way to make sure that we shift the examination. But as it is right now, that dialogue is underway. It has not been concluded. And so once it is concluded, we'll let the public know.
That was the Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Brian Michael Ture, in that report by Joseph Ture. Hope for Ebola Orphans Sierra Leone has called on citizens to lend a helping hand to Ebola orphans at Mowaf and Hamilton Village. The call was made during an assessment visit by representatives of a group living in the United States to an Ebola interim care center at Hamilton and later at Mowaf. There are over 60 Ebola orphans, some epileptic and some deaf, living in Ebola interim care center of Hope for Ebola orphans at Hamilton. Soreba Summer went along.
The Ebola outbreak, which plagued the West African countries of Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone in 2014, has become the largest Ebola epidemic ever recorded in the sub-region. Sierra Leone is recorded as the hardest hit, with over 3,000 deaths, leaving thousands of children without parents. Humanitarian organizations are still grappling with trying to make good of these vulnerable children who they are struggling to restore their lives. Hope for Ebola Orphans is looking after over 60 children made destitute by the Ebola virus disease. The national coordinator of Hope for Ebola Orphans Sierra Leone, William Thier, appealed to especially the Association of Sierra Leoneans living in Texas, ASLOT, to continue to give a hand to these children. He said the children are from Mowaf and that his organization is finding it difficult to have the orphans in one place as they are constrained with accommodation and feeding. Mr. Thier praised the World Food Programme for being supportive to the orphans with food. The national coordinator of Hope for Ebola Orphans, William Thier, thanked the Association of Sierra Leoneans in Texas for providing them with $1,000, which was used to rent a house holding up to 30 Ebola orphans. He called on Sierra Leoneans at home and abroad to emulate the hallmarks of these Sierra Leoneans in Texas and the Fatima Bio Foundation, all of whom have contributed to these orphans.
So whosoever will come for help, we really want for acceptance. You understand? Yeah. And one for tell plenty thank you to the former government. You understand? For where they give it that land, though it has not been approved by the land ministry. But one, because government's not continuity. Now we don't get a change of government. So we hope that being that Mrs. Fatima Biowena, the first lady of this country, as of now, we want for tell and say well, we dey wish am well, and we say, if you don't see the situation, do in your own capacity, make it using good office of the First Lady for see how best we can able to get that land.
Sam Fasise of the Association of Sierra Leoneans in Texas said it is incumbent on all citizens of Sierra Leone to come to the aid of these vulnerable children. He said his organization will continue to give help to these Ebola orphans at Moa Wharf and Hamilton, adding that as funds are made available, they would in future be able to give assistance to more children in Sierra Leone.
Mama Ila, if I were a journalist, is the Mother Teresa of Sierra Leone, of course, with that age, for sacrifice in retirement benefits, for utilize that retirement benefit for ensure these people their life. It is a great deal. That is one example of patriotism what we think about any Sierra Leonean for do when they are abroad.
Mr. Sise thanked the management and staff of Hope for Ebola Orphans for hosting these vulnerable children.
The 146 elected members of parliament have gone through our orientation on parliamentary procedures, their roles and responsibilities. 133 ordinary members and 14 parliament chiefs, members of parliament, went through the orientation which took place in parliament. On Nasruddin Kroma reports.
It is my pleasure to introduce the new clerk of parliament, Honorable, retired but not tired, Baran Tarawali. And I would kindly, with the permission of the chairman, request that he makes a few statements. Officially, he is now taking over gradually, whilst I remain on the background to serve as his consultant.
Professional in his own sense, seasoned politician, technocrat, and he has set the bar so high. If I want to succeed, I should fight, lying almost to that bar, to supersede it. You members of parliament, both old and new, 5 years have struggled to maximize the welfare and they are at the administrative end of things. Trust me like a time bomb. Let us work as politicians and as administrators. Let us ensure we move the Republic of Sierra Leone House of Representatives forward, and let us work for the people that sent us to this place, and let us hold the nation first.
This batch of elected members of parliament constitutes the 5th parliament of the Second Republic. All 146 MPs designate were in attendance, 68 for the APC, 49 for the SLPP, 8 for C4C, 4 for NGC, 3 independent, and 14 paramount chiefs. Parliamentary staff from various units facilitated the orientation process, taking them through various aspects related to the processes and procedures of Parliament. It is said to be the first official parliamentary interface for the new badge. Apparently, there are a lot of challenges facing the administration of Parliament, including limited resources, which has in the past served as a hurdle for adequate performance of functions. In a bid to remedy the situation, the European Union ambassador to Sierra Leone, Tom Vance, reaffirmed the EU's commitment to helping Sierra Leone have a vibrant parliament that will efficiently serve the country's legislative needs for a healthy, multi-party democracy for democratic good governance. The support, according to Ambassador Tom Vance, will be geared towards improving water supply at the parliament building, improving sanitary conditions and the IT services within the premises. It also includes capacitating members of parliament and the parliamentary staff for meaningful legislative procedures that will support an imperative national development. The UNDP country representative, Samuel Doe, assured Parliament of the UNDP support and reminded the MPs-elect that their role is key to the democratic aspirations of the country and its progress. The next assignment for the new MPs, according to the administration, is the election of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker slated for the 26th of this month. SLBC News, Nasiruddin Koroma.
This is news live on the SLBC. We now take a business desk and after business news, and afterwards we continue the rest of our stories, including sports. Continue to stay with us.
Business desk. Backyard gardens are a major source of income for some people living in both rural and urban areas in Sierra Leone. To know how much impact or contribution the backyard garden makes in the Sierra Leone economy, SLBC business volunteer Williamina Boko was at George Brook Wetland to find out.
Backyard gardens have been identified as one of the possible solutions to some of the issues surrounding poverty alleviation in some of the areas in both rural and urban Sierra Leone. At the George Brook Wetland around Meriwether Preparatory School, a gardener who is chairlady of New England Vegetable Growers and district executive of the National Federation of Farmers Western Area, Nana Samura, explained some of the challenges and successes of their trade.
The market is too low. We need to get market, and we produce the way we produce. It is left now and perish. And like them vegetables there, we plant. Now then we get with sustainability. Now then we get waiting with the live and with family. So difficult because most of them people are the deal with. Now women and youth them more at the deal with. So some of them now then they pay them pick the education. So now then they pay house rent. Then most of them are widow. So now from this backyard vegetable farming, all they do, now then they get them living. They don't do boku thing. One, it make me pick the educate. Two, I don't get small house. I don't build me and my mama. When I day my mama they live, it day. From this backyard garden, and they tell the Sierra Leoneans, me company women them, let them not look this backyard garden for say not so better thing. Backyard garden, if you put your attention there, you focus your mind there, it they build us for you, you make you become the president.
Mamusu Kamara is also a gardener at the George Brook Wetland. She sows potato leaves. She laments over the condition under which they do their trade and appeals for government intervention to make their contribution to the economy viable.
Well, I tell Papa God to thank you. Backyard garden, I walk on, I plant my potato leaf, I plant my kenge, green, I start to leave potato leaf. When I sell, I will get alhamdulillah for me and family. Me now we do. Man no dey, mama no dey, God I don't die, sister don't die. Now me want great left. With them picking there, with them don't left.
However, the Sierra Leone population has become increasingly less food secure due to many factors. Among some of these factors is lack of capacity building, which could have ensured productivity. As the Food and Agriculture Organization teaches us, that food security is a situation that exists when all people at all times have physical, economic, and social access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. This is not so in many places in Sierra Leone.
Well, that report was filed in by Wilhelmina Bockel, read in the studios by Lucian Ganda. As a result of the reintroduction of the Sunday trading, SLBC's business desk was out to sound the opinions of business houses. One of such is the Sierra Leone Botany Company. Let's see what they have to say.
The business intelligence manager for Sierra Leone Company. Well, as far as we concern the Sunday sale, good for we as business people. Because in the first place, when the kind product we produce, people they need we at any time. So the Sunday business they really affect you somehow. Now that they don't move, at least they don't lift hand for at least 5 hours a day, which is very good for we as a company. We feel say you can boom business.
Well, we get special events so we can handle. Thereby, when you get your events, like you get you married, you get your engagement, you get your picking party, you no need for go far. Can't we go able for handle them for you. We dey give una chairs, we dey give una table, we dey even go to the extent for ice the drinks and for una go able for use for their events there. So on behalf of Salon Working Company, as my colleagues, they don't say we continue for the congratulate the president and hope say what he promise na manifesto you go achieve.
Many thanks there indeed to the business desk for putting that report together. That's all we can offer from the business desk in this edition of Newshour, broadcast live on DSLBC. Well,
that was business updates. The Electricity Distribution and Supply Authority (EDSA) says ADAX has resolved its technical faults and consequently commenced operations. ADAX, according to the Public Relations Office of EDSA, has reconnected to its EDSA's main grid. After the coming into office of President Bio, the city started witnessing power outage. Up next is sports with Esther Marisamora.
It's sports updates on Newshour. I am Esther Marisamora. In this edition, the Sierra Leone national home-based team has bid farewell to the Ministry of Sport ahead of the CAF Champions League return leg match against Guinea-Bissau. The delegation has left the shores of Freetown for Bo. Soy Ibrahim Sisse, Director of Competition at the Sierra Leone Football Association, presented the players and officials to the Director of Sport at the Ministry. Here is the report. Sierra Leone national under-20 male football team was defeated by a 1-0 by their Guinea-Bissau counterpart in the first leg preliminary of the CAF Youth Championship qualifiers on 1st April 2018 in Bissau. The team has bid farewell to the Ministry of Sport ahead of the return leg match on Saturday, 21st April 2018 at the Bo Kenema Highway Stadium in Bo. Soy Ibrahim Sisse, Director of Competitions at the Sierra Leone Football Association, gave a detailed rundown of the delegation.
Get a lot, get some foreign-based players, get some local-based players, and we believe say then go Nabo, like how they left so this morning for go Nabo, for go overturn the result. The match itself is on Saturday, the 21st of April, and we believe say when we go play that game, we will make the nation proud.
Receiving the delegation on behalf of the ministry, Ibrahim Bangura, Director of Sport, appreciated the restless effort of the team and assured them of government's continual support if they win the match.
The mantle day with una get for ensure say I get confidence una. So we'll go out there, we'll only win the match because we can win the match and then still will not qualify. The essence now for going to the next stage. And the next stage, now follow we will go meet Nigeria. So on behalf of the Ministry of Sport, National Sports Council, and the transition team, we then put a lot of support for the way we forget the money for support now. Everything they in place, on allowance ready, on hotel ready, the other team don't come, and government ready for support now more if we win this match. So on behalf of His Excellency the President of the National Sports Council, the Ministry of Sport, the National and the National Sports Council, I want for wish you success, and I hope say on Saturday we will meet back and we will get a joyful party.
Ken Tabi, head coach of the team, calls on all Sierra Leoneans to give their maximum support to the team and is optimistic of winning.
I want to appeal to the public that we should all remain patriotic. We should stand behind the team. If the new government of the day has come out openly that football is one of the stepping stones for this administration, I think all Sierra Leoneans should come behind the team. We have prepared, we have trained, we've known our weaknesses, we've corrected that, so we are going to the pitch to play.
Julius Goba, team captain on behalf of his teammate, thanked the government and Mercury International for their timely intervention and promised to deliver. We are wishing Sierra Leone National Under-20 team all the best. Be informed that Guinea-Bissau team is already in town, and of course they'll be locking arms with Sierra Leone National Under-20 team at the Bo Kenema Highway Stadium in Bo. The Director of Sports, Ibrahim Bangura, spoke more on the team's preparation from the government's perspective in this interview. You being the Deputy and the Director of Sports at the Ministry, Sierra Leone will be playing Guinea-Bissau on Saturday in the tournament match. We want to know about the team's preparation from the Ministry's perspective.
Well, I mean, from the Ministry perspective, we have to look at it from two ways. We have to look from the SLFA and also from the Ministry. I.e., what does that mean? You fully understand that the technical aspect of the game is done by the SLFA, and the financial and administrative part of it is done by the Ministry of Sport and the National Sports Council. What we have done so far is that we have looked at the budget of the SLFA submitted to us through Mercury International. Mercury have done a very, very good job. They have supported the SLFA with their away leg, and also they came back and supported them with 200 million through the transition team for this forthcoming match. So, as a government, we managed to meet with the SLFA, able to assure them that players' allowance, the hotel accommodation, and other necessary things that we use to do has been done, and we are just waiting for the match. I think we are in a top gear, and we just hope that coming on Saturday, the boys can be on their best, and we all can be victorious.
Having received 200 million as sponsorship from Mercury International company, do you think that is enough to sponsor a whole national under-20 team?
It is not, but I mean, the government, we have our own obligation. What we did, Mercury supported us with 200, and we look at their budget, which was 316 million, and we also look at other things that was not included in the budget. So we're able to submit those proposals, those budgets to the government, and that has been approved.
So as we speak now, how much is the money are we talking about ahead of the return leg match in Bo?
We are talking about close to 400 million for this match, and the team is in high spirit, everything is in place. What you need to take into consideration that we have a reciprocal arrangement. That means we have to take care of their away team, their accommodation and feeding, and also we have to take care of the referees, their accommodation, feeding, and also allowances. So these are the things we need to, look at. In a normal game, this amount is a very, very little amount, but because we are dealing with the under-20, we'll manage to, see how we can able to squeeze tight unable to get this project going.
This match will be played under new leadership, and we are in a transition period. Effective, the SLPP-led government, how did they receive the team in terms of the preparation?
To be honest, I was amazed to see that the kind of cooperation and support given by the transition team and also by His Excellency the President was so surprising, and to see that for the first time the government intervened without even the ministry submitted our budget. They have already expressed interest that this game must go ahead, and they want this game that we must win this game at all costs. And I mean, for me, I'm so pleased with what is going on. I think this is a change, and this change is for this change will bring benefits to sport in the country.
Ibrahim Bangura, Director of Sports at the Ministry of Sport. Today, in the ongoing KOFA competition, the side called KTR had a 1-1 draw with Wilberforce Football Club. Tomorrow, it's going to be Babadori FC locking arms with Dwazak Community Football Team. That's the latest update in sports. I am Esther Marie Samoa. Thanks for watching.
World Sports will bring news out to a close before go the main points again. As community people at Matoko claim that Selimbiri is polluting the environment, the company has refuted the allegation. Hope for Ebola Orphans Sierra Leone has called on citizens to lend a helping hand to Ebola orphans at Moab and Hamilton. The United Nations Office of Project Services has discovered 3 human remains at Motome, and Parliament has called newly elected lawmakers on parliamentary proceedings. That's all in the news tonight. The news editor was Ibrahim Ansari. I'm Salma Taba. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.